Hey everybody, Stevo here for Movies and TVs on the Ball, and I've got a real quick question, sort of a poll, if you will. What are your thoughts? Just because I did a video on Green Room starring Patrick Stewart, I kind of thought to myself, what are the top two most iconic roles Patrick Stewart has played, technically in the sci-fi genre? And that would probably have to be Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise from Star Trek The Next Generation from 1987, let's say to 2025 with Picard, the Star Trek show. And then, of course, Professor X, which he's been playing for since, well, I guess he's playing since X-Men in 2000, and with the release of Avengers Doomsday, he's returning with Ian McKellen, and so it's kind of his two most iconic sci-fi roles. And which role did you think was probably the strongest? To me, I feel like he was probably great with as Jean-Luc Picard, and how Jean-Luc Picard in the series went from a stern, no nonsense character to a more lightened with more feelings to him or more emotion to him, which you could probably see in the Star Trek Picard show. And then you had and I think he probably brought, some sternness and that kind of thing. And then you had Charles Xavier, Professor X, in the X-Men films, and his character really had an interesting arc between the first three X-Men movies, and then how he changed, especially well, what made the most iconic scene that I think in X-Men Days of Future Past is when you saw Patrick Stewart or the two Professor X meeting, and Patrick Stewart's Professor X says, "I know you're scared. So was I," and I feel like that one gave me chills. And then he was did really well with just the chess scenes with him and Magneto were so iconic. And then he's coming back for Avengers Doomsday, which I'm kind of excited to see him, and how he also showed up in Avengers or Doctor Strange, the in the Multiverse of Madness, which I really liked the fact that we finally got to see out of the from the cartoon series, the uh, wheelchair from X-Men the animated series, and I guess the comic book accurate um, wheelchair, which was kind of cool. And Patrick Stewart, I feel like just he really makes you know these fictional characters, and, and gives them somewhat of dignity and clarity. So the dignity, and I think he made it work so well. And I think Patrick Stewart really just brought something to both these iconic characters. So let me know. Do you like Professor X versus Picard? Do you feel and what's your thoughts um, on Patrick Stewart playing both characters? Which and how do you think they've evolved throughout the years? And especially Picard, which I think he was very stern in the first season and lightened up. But let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. Peace.